All right, so again, these are demand determinants and supply determinants or non-price determinants. It is important that you be able to recognize them by all of those names because it's likely that the AP exam is going to call it a non-price determinant. Okay, so we were on this slide when last we were here, correct? Consumer tastes and preferences?
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you who have someone beside you who wasn't here yesterday, show them your shorthand method for writing these out, the delta method for writing these out. There's no way for me to put a delta in this software that I record this with. Change in consumer expectations. Write this down as change in consumer expectations. Okay.
Oh wait, is that one of our listed things?
Yes, this is a change. This is a delta. Yes, a change in consumer expectations. So your expectation about what's coming, your expectation about anticipated price cuts or price increases changes your demand. For instance, right now we are getting ready to transition from summer into fall, and from fall very quickly in Nebraska into winter. So let's ask an expert in the field. Jared, if you needed a new lawnmower but didn't need it immediately, would you go buy that lawnmower now, or would you shop for it a month from now? Well, you didn't sound very convinced. If you're going to shop for it a month from now, why would you shop for it a month from now instead of now? Why would the demand be less in a month from now?
No grass.
No grass to mow. Exactly, Ms. LaFawn. The price of the lawnmower is more likely to go down a month from now because the retailer needs to clear that showroom space so that they can stock what in inventory rather than lawnmowers? Snow blowers. Or shovels, yes. So your demand right now for lawnmowers is lower because you expect, consumer expectation, you expect the prices to be lower in the future because you know the season is turning over. If you know you're going on a trip over Christmas break and you need a new swimsuit, you don't need it right now. What can you expect swimsuits to do in the next month or so? Be on really deep clearance, right? So you might not go buy it now, you're going to go buy it a little later when they're on sale because they need to clear that space for mittens and scarves, okay? Winter coats. Behave yourself, Andrew. Here's the other one. If you expect your income is going to go up in the future, you might start spending that money now. Oh, I know that bonus is coming next week. I'm going to go buy that 84-inch plasma screen TV right now, right? Because I'll be able to pay it off when that bonus check comes in. Grandpa was looking awful sick. I think that inheritance is going to be coming in. You might increase your demand right now. Consumer expectations. Likewise, wow. You know what? There's an awful lot of empty cubicles around here at work, and I know things have been slow. I wonder if there's going to be another round of layoffs coming. You might decrease your demand for things with the expectation that you might have a decreased or complete loss of income. It works that way too. Okay. Always, auto sales decline when the economy makes a downturn. When people are concerned about holding on to their jobs, they're not going to make that investment. Okay, so let's wrap up all of these demand determinants. A change in price is going to cause a movement along the curve because demand is the curve. Say it with me. Demand is the curve.
Demand is the curve.
What's the curve?
The demand.
All right. What's a point on the curve?
Quantity demand.
Excellent. What's a point on the curve?
Quantity demanded.
Good. Don't confuse those two things. If I tell you there's a change in price of the good that you're graphing and you shift the curve, you take the L. Okay. A change in the number of buyers will shift demand. A change in consumer income will shift demand. A change in the price of related goods will shift demand. What kinds of related goods? Substitutes or complements. What kinds of goods are there? There's two kinds of goods. There's normal goods and inferior goods. How do normal goods move in relation to income? So they have a direct relationship to your income, and inferior goods have an inverse relationship. Okay. Consumer tastes and preferences will shift the demand curve, and a change in consumer expectations will shift the demand curve. Demand for two-door, low-slung sports cars with no back seat might be fairly high amongst men ages 22 to 30. Until you separate out those men ages 22 to 30 who have been married about a year or two and are trying to start a family, and their expectation that they might need to move a car seat around might shift their demand curve for, say, a Corvette. And for those of you who have two-door cars, and you're like, I could totally, you will find that after wrestling a baby or a toddler into the back seat of a two-door car into the car seat a few times, four-door cars are there for a reason, and they're called family sedans for a very good reason. Strap them up in the front and put a couple pillows up there, Q?
That's what I said.
Give them a good old like bicycle.
Alrighty then, practice
Not
time! I know you're so excited about this. Okay. We're instead of price of iPods, we're just going to call this cell phones. Okay. Price of cell phones, since everybody has their music on their cell phone now. Work with me here. Okay. So you're going to draw a demand curve for music downloads. Who wants to go first? Davis, bring it on up. What a brave, brave boy. In that blank space over to the right, draw us a demand curve, sir. Draw us just the demand curve first. Don't do anything to it.
Don't label it.
Whoa, you should label it.
It's that who hasn't sinned shall pass the first stone.
What does that say over there to the right?
All I'm saying is
Don't
No,
do it,
this
Davis.
is not what I wrote the wrong thing.
Nope. No. Your class is trying to help you. There you go. Just a P and a Q will suffice. You will do hundreds and hundreds of these in the next month or two, and a P and a Q will be just fine. Is Davis's demand curve going the right way?
Yes.
Davis, I have a correction for you. Your demand curve does not touch the axes. Erase the ends of that. It doesn't. It's not a PPF. It doesn't go clear to the axis. It's just a line that floats in nothingness.
it doesn't touch them.
Now, okay. Now, You also have to label the curve itself. Nope, not there.
Make a key.
Nope, don't make a key. D for demand. And always to the right-hand side of the curve, be consistent in how you label. It will make your life easier. Okay? All right, so this is good so far, except we're really missing something. What is this demand for?
Title the graph.
Yes, always title your graph, because for a lot of problems you're going to have multiple curves, and you need to keep straight which one is what. Now, it's not demand curve. It is simply, what are we graphing? Nope, we're not graphing iPods.
Music downloads.
Music downloads, there you go. So you have your demand curve and you have music downloads. All right. So now, and poor Davis, put the lid on your marker. You're gonna be here for a while. All right. I'm walking you through the process of answering one of these. So, thank you. The first thing you have to do is examine the criteria that changed. The price of iPods has fallen. So the price of the device on which you store the music download has fallen. The first thing you say to yourself is this a change in the price of what I'm graphing? You say no. How do you know that?
I was looking at B and it says.
What are you graphing?
Music download.
You're graphing music downloads. In the price of iPods falls, did the price of music downloads change?
No.
So are we going to have a shift along the curve? No. Okay, good. Good answer. Moving on. Now, what do you suppose we need to determine next? Did a demand determinant change? And if so, which one? So, Davis, did a demand determinant change?
Yes.
Which one? Oh, this is where memorizing those comes into play, doesn't it? Q. A what? Q.
A, B, or C.
Q, I know you slept through a lot of the lecture yesterday, but let's, come on. Hannah! Hannah thinks we have a change in a price of a related good. Who agrees? Who disagrees? Who is completely and totally clueless? Thank you for your honesty. All right. This is where you're looking at the list of deltas. Change in whatever. If you have to, go through them one by one. Is this a change in consumer tastes and preferences when the price of iPods falls? No. Is this a change in consumer expectations? No, because the price already changed. What else do we have to compare it to? What are our other options? Is it a change in consumer income? No. Is it what? I want you to call them demand determinants, not curve shifters. I started class by saying that, but you were talking.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
I'm just looking off the notes that you have on the stupid slides.
You must also listen to the words coming out of my mouth.
I am listening.
No, you were talking.
All I'm saying is I was always talking, but I haven't.
So, what demand determinant is it? Price of related goods. Now, with this one, you must go further. What kind of related goods? A complement. How is an iPod a complement to a music download? Without the iPod, what are you going to download the music to? I'm just going to put it in my pocket. Got the song in my pocket. No? Okay, so we have a change in the price of complements. So, Davis, what happened to the complementary good price?
It dropped.
So what do you suppose will happen to our demand for music downloads now that what we put them on is cheaper?
It will increase.
It will increase. So demand for music downloads will increase. Can you graph that for us?
Leave that all up there.
Well, if you don't have the original curve up there, how will you show a change?
I don't have
You won't have a different colored pen on the quiz, on the AP exam.
It doesn't touch the axis.
Whoa there, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
So Davis has drawn us a new curve that crosses the original curve. So I have to ask Davis, why do we want more music downloads at lower prices than we do at higher prices? Why did demand only increase at some prices but decreased at higher prices?
I don't know. I tried to. I don't think I drew it exactly because people will want to buy more, but the fact is because the price of the music downloads don't change. So this price stay the same, like all these amounts, but
Yeah,
doesn't
they're like
All those amounts stay the same no matter what. The graph is what the graph is. I mean, the axis is what the axis is. So either they want more or they don't. They can't want more at some prices and less at other prices.
So when it starts, you can just go out from there.
I got you. You've been a good sport. This is tough. I threw you onto the fire. Yes, a round of applause for David. That was very great. A few rules of thumb when graphing both supply and demand, because you're going to do this a lot and you want to be consistent, and because I'm going to teach you the way that will make you right more often than not. If you do it my way, you won't misread silly things on graphs when we get more complex. So, demand curve. We know already we're going to shift the demand, so I'm going to label this one already. D1. Okay. Now, demand increased. Show me, point, which way does demand go when it increases? It goes to the right, because we are increasing quantity. And if we put numbers on here, they go from 1 to infinity, right? Okay, they get higher as we go that way, so increase is going to go that way. Always draw your curve parallel and equidistant, which is also parallel. Does not matter how much you draw it as an increase. In fact, you do not know how much you have increased demand. They didn't give you anything that could tell you how much. You just know it increased. And your sole purpose is to be able to say, demand increased. And have you done that? You have done that. Yes, Q.
So does the graph like shift right, or does it go like does the price increase too?
So, Q, let's say that at price A here, we wanted quantity A. At price A now, we want quantity B.
Sorry, I'm just saying like
Price didn't change. We did not change. In this, they told us nothing about the price of music downloads, and that's what we're graphing. So we don't change the price of music downloads. None of the numbers on this axis changed. We changed the quantities of music downloads that we want at any given price.
What is the quantity of music?
We changed the quantity of music downloads that we want at any given price. We increased it.
Will the slope ever change?
Not this year. Well, because the answer is absolutely it changes, but not this year. Not an intro. What? Yes, it's because you're doing the perfect situations and because we're in a perfectly competitive market. Yeah. Okay. Have you got the fundamentals down? Yes? Who wants to come do the price of music downloads falls?
Is this in sequence?
Oh, you chickens. Who wants to come do B?
Is this in sequence or?
What do you mean is it in sequence? We're answering these questions, kid.
I know, but is it based off of the original?
No, new graph. New curve. Who wants to do B? If no one's brave enough, I'll select a victim.
Because it
You've got to draw it, because you're going to have to draw it on the test. I know what you're saying, so why don't you come up and give it a shot, since you know what's going on. Alright, so now the price of music downloads has fallen. I think I threw it in the back of the bin. That's no good of me.
So this B.
Okay?
Price. I mean, you're just decreasing the price. Nothing changes.
Same, honestly.
We done. That is now we're done.
Oh.
We're gonna start tomorrow.
Power blip.
Same.
They might be doing the generator test, so usually they do it on Saturday.
Is our electricity?
No, that we have an emergency light. That light's never, ever, ever supposed to go off. So, okay,
What was the alarm?
telling me your emergency light isn't working.
Get help.
Okay, so Jared, what did you say?
The price goes down, so you don't move it. It's not a shifter or a demand determinant. It's just, you know.
Jared is correct. So, thank you. What Jared is saying is, hey, pay attention. Right here it told us the price of music downloads has fallen. And guess what we're graphing? Music downloads. So the price has fallen. Gee, how can we show that? Let's put a price up here. We'll call it P1 for the first price. Oh, Gavin, you're going to be sorry you're slipping through this. Here's the first price. There's where it is. We bring it on down to quantity, and we'll call that quantity that corresponds with P1 Q1. So what did we say the price did? It fell. How much did it fall? This is Bob Ross economics. It can fall wherever you want it to. Let's put this happy little price right down here. There we go. Price 2. Boom. When price 2 fell, what happened to the quantity? Price went down and quantity went up. Oh! But wait. As price falls, quantity increases. What does that correspond to? Oh my goodness sakes, we've just proven the law of demand.
So just.
Ceteris paribus. It's so exciting,
What do you
isn't it?
write down though?
What do you need to write down? You write down the graph.
Like at that. But what I'm saying is like if we want to look back in our notes to explain what happened, like what could we write
The
down?
price changed. It's not a demand determinant. Demand determinants are also called non-price determinants. So a price change shifts you along the curve. A demand determinant change shifts the curve because demand is the curve.
So does that mean we'll change?
We didn't change the curve at all. We didn't change the curve at all. We just moved along the curve. Now we could have drawn those almost horizontal. We could have drawn them almost vertical. Doesn't matter how you draw your practice curves. You're just showing the shift. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it.
It is pretty easy.
It's almost so easy that you're making it hard.
You're like, take it, stop.
Let time make it hard. Time will make it hard. Okay, who wants to do the price of CDs? I know you're just aching to. Andrew. I'm sorry, Jonathan. Did you have your hand up too, or were you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were graphic. You get the next one. So Andrew's going to start by drawing us a demand curve. Andrew, you're going to have to actually touch the marker to the board. Okay, so you're telling me my marker's dead.
Hey, let me see another one. Looks branded.
It is
I'm
branded.
pretty sure we're all
Quit talking
seeing
about
your
fashion.
outfit.
Or lack
That's not
thereof.
even considered fashion. That's just considered sad.
Andrew, I respect.
Just dip it in some water.
Well, I tried.
All right.
You would prefer to wear shirts.
Has Andrew correctly drawn his demand curve?
No.
Andrew, you suck.
There we go.
Has Andrew correctly drawn his demand curve?
I can't see.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, he's standing in front of it. Now,
That's
Andrew, before you touch that marker to the board again, put the cap on it so it doesn't dry out, please.
like Dave.
And tell us what's the next step in answering this question.
See if it's determinate, like change.
So is the price of CDs falling a determinant, Andrew?
It is a related good price determinant. So yes.
I need you to say it in the economic terms. It is a,
Related.
I need the whole thing. It is a change in the price.
Change in the price of a related good.
Change in the price of related good. What kind of related good, Andrew?
Substitute.
A substitute. What is substituting for what?
The CD is substituting for music downloads.
A CD is substituting for music downloads? Could you have that backwards?
Music downloads substituting for TVs.
CD.
CDs.
Yes, music download is substituting for the CD. We're no longer purchasing the music download, we're no longer purchasing the CD, we're purchasing the music download.
Wait, but the price of the CDs fell, so you.
Yep. The price of CDs did fall.
What happened?
Are you buying more music downloads?
I didn't say you were.
I feel like that's how it is.
Wait, so what are you trying to flip?
Can I
The
draw
price
or
of
no?
CDs affects how many music downloads there are? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because Andrew said they're related goods, they're substitutes. And so the price of one of the substitutes has fallen. So what happens to demand for the other one? Goes down. He's correct, it goes down. There you go. He's done it correctly.
Wait, so the price of CDs
So, no, the price of music, we don't know anything about the price of music downloads. The price of CDs fell. They give you the same thing. Both of them give you the music. The CD gives you the music, the download gives you the music. So if the CD is now cheaper than it was, which do you go buy?
The CDs, so the demand for music downloads. I thought that's what I said, but I missed it.
Okay. All right. We still have 10 whole minutes. So let's see if they graph them for us the right way. Oops. Better erase my marks. Well, that demand curve looks right, doesn't it?
Where's their title?
Well, they crammed the title into their access labels. They did.
Yeah.
But you're not going to go to the trouble to write that down twice.
Is this just what we already did?
Yes. It's just the book showing you step by step by step. And there, it's going to tell you they're complements. So we were right. Price of related goods. And what did we say happened to demand on this one? It increased. So it shifts to the right. Booyah. Okay. So now the price of music downloads fall. Demand doesn't shift because demand is the curve. And when the price of the curve shifts, you shift along the curve. Just like we did it, right? Okay, we said they're substitutes. Oh boy, Andrew, moment of truth. Are you ready? Are you ready? Oh, you drew your curve in blue.
You gave me blue.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, that's demand. That's demand. Now we're going to flip the other way and talk about supply.
I like section this off.
No, because they're both related. You do not have to separate them.
Yeah, it's or black and navy. He wears like black and then like 4 different shades of navy. 'Cause he wears,
Okay,
like,
let's
3.
stop with the fashion critique and work on the supply. All right. You'll find that the definition for quantity supplied is much like the definition for quantity demanded, except here it's suppliers, sellers, firms that are willing and able to sell. Wouldn't Ford love to sell 10 million F-150 trucks? Absolutely. Are they willing to sell 1 million of them or 10 million of them? Absolutely. Are they able? No. So can we count that as a quantity supplied? No. Would I love to sell 32 A's? Oh, wait. I'm neither willing nor able.
Get one right here.
Curses. No, you're a Q. All right. So then the law of supply is just like the law of demand. Except that it's not. Keep putting my markers away. I gotta quit doing that. The law of supply says as price increases, quantity supplied increases. As price decreases, quantity supplied decreases. Ceteris paribus. It is what kind of relationship? Direct. Think about supply from the point of view of a seller. It's not a point of view you guys have been in much since you stopped doing lemonade stands on the corner when you were 6. Okay. So, if you think about it as a seller, wouldn't you want to sell even more at higher prices? Absolutely. So put yourself in those seller shoes to keep this one straight. So, what does the graph for supply look like? We're going to put it on the same axes, but before we do the graph, we have to do the schedule. It's just the same thing as the demand, right? Demand schedule. Okay. Boy, these people have Helen down, don't they? Except, wait a minute, Helen wanted 18 lattes at 0 price, right? They're not meeting her there, are they? They're not willing to give Helen even 1 latte. I don't think she even gets a taste at 0 price. But that definitely obeys the law of supply, doesn't it? The quantity goes up as the price goes up. So when we graph it, booyah.
So is this saying that she gets 3 lattes for $1? Or 3
No, this is about the supply.
Starbucks would sell 3 lattes at $1.
Starbucks is willing to sell 3 lattes when they're $1 a piece. Okay. I'll stop and let this sink in. Okay. Market supply and individual supply are just like market demand and individual demand. Okay. We have 2 companies in the market here selling lattes. We have Starbucks and Jitters. Okay. So when we take both of their supply schedules and add them together, we end up with market supply. Following all of this, because it's just like demand. They are supply determinants, yes. Or non-price determinants. Okay? And then we can graph that same thing. And look, still, nobody's willing to give away a free latte. Darn. All right, so now supply determinants. These are going to be the same delta things as we did before. We're probably going to get through one of them. So changes in these supply determinants shift the supply curve. Change in the price of inputs. Listen to it the way I'm telling you. It'll be easier to remember. Change in the price of inputs. Change in the price of inputs. Remember, inputs are the things we use to make the goods and services we sell. Jared, since you're an entrepreneur in here, what are your inputs for your lawn mowing business? Me. You're not an input. But
No,
what do you have?
for me. It
Oh,
would
yeah.
be
What are they?
like my motor, gas,
The mower. Okay, that's capital equipment. Okay. Gas.
my car,
The trim of the car.
hitch,
The hitch. The trailer.
string,
You're missing a big one. None of those things are going anywhere on their own. Labor. Yeah, Mark's got it. Jared's like, I do it for fun. It's not work.
I do.
Okay. So change in the price of inputs. So Jared, gas went up over 50 cents a gallon over the weekend. Does that impact how much you're willing to supply at the same prices?
Well, if I had my way, I'd increase my prices, but
Yeah. Since it's probably a short-term increase,
Yeah.
we hope that it goes back down, right? But if it stays up and goes even higher, you will increase your prices, right? Or decrease the quantity that you'll supply at that price because it's not as profitable. Okay? So a change in the price of inputs. If Jared has employees and they raise the minimum wage, he's got to pay them that minimum wage. That's a change in the price of inputs. Okay. If gas prices go down, yay, more profit. But some companies will also lower their prices. Or they just make more. Okay. So, if we have a change in the price of inputs, we're going to look at milk here. Okay? Milk is the input whose price has changed. The price of milk has fallen. We're still selling lattes. It really annoys me that they don't title their graph. This graph is for the supply of lattes. The price of milk has fallen. Okay? Change in the price of inputs. So it's now cheaper for Starbucks and Jitters to make their lattes, so now they're willing to sell more at the same prices. Where before milk went down in price, they were only selling 5 lattes for $1. Now they'll go ahead and they'll sell 10 lattes for $1. So if the input prices fall, supply increases. If input prices decrease, or input prices increase, supply will decrease. Again, put yourselves in the role of the business and think about it in terms of common sense. If it's more expensive for me to do business, am I going to do more business or less? That's all you have to ask yourself. Okay? We'll call it a wrap there. Study this stuff, guys. Get those demand determinants locked in.